Tell me everything.
Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you on. I've been like wanting to have you on here since like I first started. You were like on my top 30 list of people that I want on. So
Only top
I'm
30,
super
huh?
stoked. Well, I would say you're less than top 30, by the way, but I just made like because they say like when you start a podcast, you need to have like 30 guests written down that like I know for sure I can at least do 30 episodes. Otherwise, you shouldn't start a podcast. So I was like, you were in that list. And like I said, you were higher up, but yeah,
No, I
glad
appreciate
to have
it.
you on.
And
Awesome.
likewise,
Well,
by the way, I wanted to do it for the longest time. I was like, man, I should have been the first one.
I know you should have been. We definitely
Yeah.
should have done that. That's okay. We'll do this more. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start off. And if you would just like introduce yourself, let's talk about MyFreightStaff, what all you guys do there, and then we'll dig into the tell me everything piece.
Awesome. Well, my name is Edward Lockridge, founder and CEO here at MyFreightStaff. And the name of the game for us is offshore staffing. So we have a unique approach on how we do things. I mean, we have representatives who are primarily home-based that we prepare with tools and equipment to service our clients who are domestic transportation companies. So both on the broker side and the asset-based side, technology companies, et cetera. And really, we kind of want to take a lot of the fluff out of staffing. And at the end of the day, we know what the clients need. They're looking to fill in some operational efficiencies or kind of fill in the gap, so to speak. And we provide, high-end college-educated talent in order to do just that. We're actually one of the pioneers in the space. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary in February.
Wow, congrats.
So back when we got started, it was us and one other outfit doing it.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, those are the Filipino guys," and then we didn't give ourselves that name. It's just 10 years ago, 2016, 2017 is how people were referring to us because things were so new.
Yeah. Very
So,
cool. Well, yeah, and here you are today. First off, I appreciate my swag that I got. I'm going to show it off. So I got my cute little stocking, and that's why I'm wearing my Christmas stuff, even though like this will come out after Christmas. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to show all my things. And then I got M's with the cute MyFreightStaff, and each one has your little microphone thing. Super cool. I love it.
thank you for
Thank you for
sharing
that.
that. We're very much, we want to kind of be in our own lane. We want to do things our own way. And we want that to be apparent in each and everything that we do. Is like, if people don't say, hey, why didn't I think of that? I feel like we're doing something wrong. So
Yeah, you're very
that's
good at
just
that.
one of the few things that we're trying to do.
Yeah, and at conferences too, you guys make a splash, and definitely like everyone's like, well, who's that? Who's Edward? I'm like, oh my God, I got to introduce you to Edward. And like everybody's got to know you guys. So very cool.
No, thank you for that.
So, okay, I'm so excited for this. Like I said, I can't believe we haven't done this before where I just know every little thing about you already. But take me back to like, I guess like little Edward and where, kind of like how you got started in, and then how you got started in like everything and then became who you are today.
So, I mean, I don't want to start the story to when I was a baby, I guess. So
Oh no, you have to start
I'll
there.
probably start, just before getting in the transportation space. I feel like in our industry, because no one ever leaves the industry, people are always interested to know, how did you get into freight?
Right.
And so right out of college, I graduated with my bachelor's in economics, sociology minor. Technically, it's a double major in economics and sociology. And my objective was not freight. My objective was very simple. I wanted to have an educational background and experience that meant that, hey, on the practical side, he can do it. And on the social side, he can also do it. He's very well rounded. And I wanted to my vision was like, I'm just going to be a manager at some company and just work my way up because, in my surroundings, that's what I saw as kind of the best route. That's kind of the best that you can hope for coming from where I come from. I don't have an extremely affluent background or anything like that. I grew up in the hood, so to speak. And, I feel very blessed and fortunate to be where I am today.
Yeah.
Fast forward, graduated, and it's like, well, now what?
You're right.
And I did what most young college students do, and I'm like, apply. I'm applying to different places. I'm getting interviews and things like that. And before this point, every job that I ever applied for, I got it.
Yeah.
And this was like a new thing because, now I'm going in to job for management positions, et cetera. And I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned is like, you've got to look the part. So I'm like, hey, let me come in a button up shirt and some slacks and
Yeah.
some decent shoes. And when I'm going to these interviews, I'm seeing other candidates out there and they're full suits and they're just prepared, and they look
Mm.
like I want to be here for this job. And something that I learned early on is like, you gotta really look the part, especially if you're nobody. You're
Yeah.
hey, we don't know who this guy is. You gotta really look the part, and from the outside looking in, they've got to be able to see, hey, this guy's prepared. So
Right.
I got overlooked on a lot of things before figuring that piece out. And the first organization that actually hired me was a mid-size brokerage here in Southern California. And so my start in freight was not intentional by any means. It was just
Hmm.
like, hey, this is who picked me up. And I remember it was 2010. I was in a sales role and I was making $2,000 a month plus commission. And I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna go kill it. Early on, I figured out, I had a boss at the time who was trying to keep me motivated. And so he's like, all right, well, just whatever you did, just put $25 on it and sell it. And so I started doing the math myself. I was like, well, I know how profit works. This is
Right.
not going to be enough to sustain me. And so I took it upon myself to start really understanding the dynamics and principles behind freight, understanding what fair pricing looked like,
Hmm.
and taking it upon myself to sell movements for a reasonable rate. They really like that.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point, um, you know, we were selling and I just saw so many inefficiencies at that company. I'm like, hey, we should be doing things completely different from a sales perspective. And
Right.
so I went home. I did a whole presentation. Mind you, I'm right out of college, so all I know is reports and essays and things like that. So I did a great outline, and I called a meeting. I didn't even know if I could call a meeting, and I called this meeting. And hey, guys, I want to talk to you about something. And we put it on the calendar. And I came in. I had like handouts for everybody, and they were just absolutely blown away by what I presented and things that they had overlooked that I came in very quickly identifying.
Yeah.
And the question I got was, what, well, we this is all great, but we don't have anybody to run this. Can you do this? Can you run this? And I
Mm.
was like, yeah, absolutely, I can. So at a very young age, I became their VP of business development, and
Wow.
I
That's
was
awesome.
hiring sales reps much more qualified than myself, much more experienced, excuse me, than myself. I felt like I was more than qualified, but much more
Yeah.
experienced than myself, and it was very successful. But I got a hard lesson in credit, not by any fault of my own, but the company that I worked for was extending a bunch of credit
Hmm.
to shippers that were less than credit worthy. That's a common story in freight.
Yep.
And
Totally.
a couple big shippers went a belly up to the tune of a few $1 million.
Oh,
And as
wow.
a mid-sized brokerage, it just was too big of a hit for us to overcome. And so that company went bankrupt.
Wow.
And by this time, I was not making $2,000 a month anymore.
Right.
By the time I went bankrupt, I was probably 25. I already purchased my first home. I purchased my first brand new car, and I had overhead. I had things that I had to take care of, and so my options were go find a job and hope that my book of business transferred over there, and hope that the organization that I was associated with was um, honest enough and had enough integrity not to try to like just take as much as they could from me and then move me on to the next company,
Right.
or try my hand at doing it myself. And that's what I did. So, and a lot of people don't know this, but in 2013, I started my my own freight brokerage.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. I could see that.
and very successful right off the bat. I think at our height, probably doing that might have just me and a couple people. I know I remember I had a brother-in-law who was helping me out, and
Yeah.
just a few people. We were doing 7 to 10 million in revenue a year my first couple of
Wow.
years,
Yeah.
and very profitable. I was the sales guy. I was always out knocking on doors in the warehouses. We're here in Southern California, specifically in the Inland Empire, and it's like freight heaven over here.
Yeah.
Um, I'm knocking on all the doors, making sure I know every single shipper in the entire community, and it just worked out. And it got to the point though where I was selling but my team could not keep up. They just couldn't keep up. And it was very difficult to hire representatives in Southern California at a wage that was going to be sustainable, because you know how freight is. You're oftentimes you're waiting to get paid, but your employees, they're not going to wait to get paid. Oftentimes they're not going to wait with you. They're going to go somewhere where they can be paid on time every time.
That's
And
why I left
so
my first brokerage. Yep.
so you understand me completely.
Totally. Yep.
So in this particular case, I'm like, man, what am I going to do? And so I just got to researching, like how can I overcome this new obstacle? We're a successful company. We're doing well. And
Was it mainly operations that you were having? So like covering the loads, or just keeping track and trace, kind of, I guess, all the things.
all of the above, because
Okay.
it wasn't due to inability, or we were capable.
Right. It just wasn't a
It's just
scale.
so much, right? I was doing my job too well. Like I was
Yeah.
out there
Of
selling,
course you were.
and things were happening. Clients
Yeah.
were giving us opportunities left and right, and we were closing those opportunities. Okay, book it. Okay, ship it. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
Now you got to do it,
Right.
right? And if you just got a couple people, oftentimes it's not going to work. And you can say, okay, I need 5 people. I have 2 people. I need 5.
Yeah. Throwing
Well,
bodies as at it all isn't
yeah,
always the same. Yeah.
yeah. Those 5 people cost 5 Southern California wages worth of overhead.
Right.
And so the solution that I came up with was like, hey, let me try my hand at going overseas. And I'll be the first to tell you, I did not believe that it was reasonable or possible
Mm.
to do. Like, okay, I'm going to try to hire someone from the Philippines and just see. And I think that, my first BA at Bernice uh, is kind of the catalyst that put all the pieces together.
What made you choose the Philippines?
So to be honest, it's like when I would call, I remember, I would have issues with back in the day, the phone plans were different, and you'd have issues.
Yeah.
Well, why did I get billed for this? And I only text this many times. And you would call, and you would always get the Philippines. And then you would call about your credit card, and you'd always get the Philippines, and it's Philippines. And so for me, it's like
Gotcha.
I'm always aware of what I don't know. Right. A lot
Right.
of people they feel like they know everything. I know that I do not know everything. But I do know that a lot of organizations invest heavily in their back office. They invest heavily in customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm seeing this transition where a lot of organizations are investing heavily in the Philippines, that's where I'm going to start my investigation. Like, why
Gotcha.
are they
That makes
doing that?
sense.
And I found that they were doing that often because the Philippines is very aligned with American culture due
Mm.
to America's history in the Philippines. If you go to the Philippines, the signage is not in Tagalog, it's in English.
Oh, okay.
In schools, Filipinos grow up learning English alongside Tagalog, and they're educated in both in most cases. And so it's a very easy place to get to find someone, right? It's not
Yeah.
an easy place to find the best people. It's an easy place to find someone. So I genuinely believe that I got lucky, or there was some divine interference
I
that
was
said,
about to
hey,
say,
we're going to place
sounds like
this
something bigger
person
than that. Yeah.
with you, right? They were going to place this specific person with you, because I could have very easily got, another person that would have ruined my
Yeah.
mind
Joe Blow,
for
right.
household,
Your
right?
vision would have been gone. Yeah.
Exactly. And she was every bit as good as my internal team. It's like I took the blinders off of myself, right? And
Mm.
even today, I find myself taking the blinders off of people, but I had to take the blinders off of myself first. And like, people are just people. If you
Yeah.
train people well, they're going to perform well. If the person themselves wants to do well, they will do well.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are good people and bad people. There are educated people, uneducated people. There are people who have integrity, people who don't have integrity everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere. It's just finding those people. And I was able to find those people in the Philippines, and it just worked. It
Wow.
really just worked. It was beautiful. So the scenario that I found myself in is that what my peers here saw was that I just had a couple people, right? And they're like, how are you doing this? Like, how are
Yeah.
you keeping up with all that with just a couple people? What tools, what tech, what everything are you using that you're able to do that? And so I started telling people like, oh, I outsource, and, I had to figure out how to do it. And I put together some training for myself and everything. And it
Mm.
got to the point where people were asking me to do this for them. Hey,
Yeah.
do that for my business. And so in February of 2016, I decided to do just that. And that's how my freight staff was founded. It was founded based on a need, not only that I saw from the outside looking in, but it was my own need. Right? This
Right.
is something that I was doing for myself for a few years before my freight staff was a thing. And so there was 1 or 2 years in the starting point of my freight staff where I was doing both. But in 2017 or early 2018, sold off my stake in the brokerage, and I said, no, this is what I want to do. This is aligned with my purpose,
Hmm.
helping organizations, especially those organizations that are in a situation where they're kind of in a stall. They're
Yeah.
not in a growth mode. They're in this grind that doesn't really bear fruit. I want to
Right.
help those organizations be in a position where they can continue that trajectory that they're aiming for. And
Yeah.
that's
Totally.
what my freight stuff does.
So cool. So whenever you are, I guess, do you handpick now still in the Philippines, or do you have like people over there that are kind of picking for you?
But we have the best recruiting team. I mean,
Okay.
they're not just the team, the process, right? The process to recruiting people is beautiful in a sense that we filter kind of along the way. So a lot of organizations, they do their interviews and they see someone and they say, you seem great, you're hired, let's start training. The problem with that is that I believe that anybody can show you the best of them for an
It's kind of
hour.
like you said, they can dress their part, like how you had to do. They can dress up
Exactly.
like it, right?
Yeah, exactly. People's characters have clothes on them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
so so you put a nice outfit and some makeup on that character for a brief moment,
Right.
you can really mask who you really are. But we do things in such a way that when things get warm, you might have to peel off a couple layers, like, it's too hot for this, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and what's left are the elite. If there are no hurdles to jump through in order to, and I don't mean like in uh, hurdles that serve no purpose, but hurdles that allow us to identify who's who, then it serves no purpose. I'll give you an
Right.
example. I'm not going to throw the whole game out here, but I'll give you an
No. Yeah.
example. One of the first things that we do is a self-paced program. We want to see when no one's watching, when I'm not watching, my team's not watching, when no one's watching, and you just have a goal to complete.
Mm,
How do you approach that? Do
yeah.
you take your time and do well? Do you rush through and do poorly? Do you take your time and still do poorly? We
Yeah.
want to know how you're going to operate on your own because it's going to closely mirror how you're going to operate when you're operating on behalf of one of our clients.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we've done our due diligence to say this person is a hard worker. This person wants to learn. This person wants to grow with you. And our retention on both client and VA side speaks for itself. I mean, we're doing a solid job at making sure we identify the right people and keep those people happy.
I was just going to ask about retention because I made a post the other day about, because honestly, I feel like 2026 is like everybody's planning on making some sort of change. Not everybody, but there's like, I'm getting hit up on LinkedIn like, hey, do you know somebody that's hiring for this? Or do you know this? Or I have this open position. You have people like, can you refer me to whoever? And so I feel like a lot of shifting in that. And a lot of those, because everyone right now, it's kind of weird to hire currently because there's who knows what's going to happen with the market, all that jazz. But right now is like the time where, like, if you are going to grab an elite person, this is the time to grab them. And so I
Mhm.
think a lot of people are being poached, myself included. Like, people are reaching out to me being like, "Hey, what do you need to come over here?" All this stuff.
Yeah.
And so
What you got to say?
there's a way to keep elite people. You know what I mean? Like, you can treat them the right way, have respect for them the right way, kind of get them to be included in not, I wouldn't say decisions, but like being included in like the culture and being included in things. And I definitely think you do a great job with that. But I guess if you want to elaborate a little bit more on like things that you've seen success in retention.
Well, working backwards, I think just as a market, we're we're innovating ourselves out of jobs in many
Hmm.
cases, right? There's
Yeah.
some positions that you just won't be able to innovate your way out of. They just, at least for the midterm, they're here to stay.
Yeah. I think a lot of them will always be there. Yeah. But
Right. Right. Organizations have to be intentional about retention. And I think that a lot of the market knows when it's fake, when it's not real.
hmm
And so, I'll start by saying, I don't even know if this is the most relevant, but I'll start by saying here at my freight staff, I'm speaking of my California team, if we're comparing apples and apples, I'm assuming we're talking about the US market to start, and then I'll transition over into the offshore market. But the US market is probably 5 times more likely that the management here, not just myself, but my managers here, identify like this person is not going to continue to perform at a level. And we're going to coach, but this person doesn't want to do that, and us make the decision to part ways, as opposed to someone saying my freight staff isn't the company for me.
Yeah.
And so I want to start by kind of identifying the difference between the two. I think that organizations should, be very invested and shoulder to shoulder with their teams in order to know who's who.
Really.
Because in the end of the day, business is kind of a battle, right? You have
Mhm.
competitors,
Yep.
and your competitors will gladly take what you have, right?
Mhm.
And there's that age old expression: a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I'm proud to say we don't have weak links at MyFreightStaff, and that's by design, right? It wasn't always that way, and I had to really improve as a leader because I wasn't always where I am, and I hope that tomorrow I'm much better than I am today.
Mhm.
But you've got to work to identify that. It's number one. And you've got to work not only to identify those that can work hard, but you have to work to make sure that you maintain a culture, not just for you, not just for the employer, but for everyone there, right?
Yeah.
If people dread coming to work, they dread it. Like, I don't like coming to work. Or if people are starving because pay is a factor, right?
Totally.
If the organization is eating and the representatives around it are not,
Yeah.
when I go to conferences, my team are going out in conference. I know that my team is gonna get like, hey,
Oh,
what's
I've
gonna
seen
take to
you.
go? I know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna
I
happen.
know.
But you've never seen somebody from my team be, not even a single person, be taken from my freight staff to somewhere else. I'm not saying that it can't
Mhm.
possibly happen, but I'm saying that it's not likely going to happen because we're well taken care of, not only from the sake of pay. People have families, people have vision and goals that they want to do for their self and their personal lives. So that's going to always be something that's a priority to us, but also culture, right? If
Right.
you take a look, and I'm inviting you right here on this podcast, you got to come out and visit us
I know I do.
sometime soon. But you'll see that there are a lot of things that are done very intentionally, right? So one of the things, like parking, it can be crazy in Southern California. And so we've got like branded like vehicles, like scooters and things that people can just jump on and take to go get lunch and come back and whatever. So
Mhm.
they don't have to get out of their parking here to go find parking over there and everything like that. Just
Yeah.
simple things. We make sure to invest in only the absolute best equipment. People have, their sit stand desks,
Yeah.
everyone. There's always music playing. We provide all the snacks and food. And I know this is like cliche. It's like, well, that's what people do when they don't want to pay you. But on top of that, we pay well, right?
Yeah.
And and it's not just, hey, we pay you and we give you this, do hard work. We also take the time to spend time to get to know our team and get to know one another. And
Yeah.
so I would say there's not a month goes by where we're not saying, hey, let's go do this together. Let's go do that together. And I want to encourage employers to take advantage of that, because you'll be able to see where there's an issue when you have a lot of people who are like, nah,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to do that. Right. If you can't say, hey, let's do this as a team, and most of your team is not excited to do that, then you've got to work on your culture.
Right. You gotta be a family. You spend more time together than you do at home, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that everyone has to do everything.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. But if you sporadically do something like once a month or once every other month, and you say, hey, let's do this, and most of your team is like, nah, I'm good. I got this plan and that plan. You got to work on your culture.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. You got to work on your culture, because here in my freight staff, when we say, hey, let's go here, you probably seen some of the things like, hey, let's
Mm.
go paintballing. That, like, paintballs,
Yeah.
people are timid, but because it's the team, they're
Yeah.
like, you know what, with this team I'll do it, right? With you I will do it.
Mhm.
Or people are like, or we go to restaurants, we have drinks, we protect each other. Hey, that's enough for you. We make sure that
Yeah.
everything goes off without a hitch, because we actually care about each other. We actually enjoy each other's presence. And I think all of that, the most important thing that you can do in terms of retaining your
Totally.
talent within your
Mhm.
organization.
Yeah, I think you nail the whatever it is on
Hit the
the
nail on the head.
the nail on the head. Why can't I think of that?
You
Totally.
put
And
your tail on the donkey. Like,
yeah, whatever it is. But also I wanted just to say that I like at the conferences, how you'll just be like, okay, team, go work. Like I've seen you be like, okay, go work. And you have so much confidence in them, not like, hey, I'm going to check on you and see, and like maybe walk the floor and see what they're doing. I mean, you're just like, you're basically just there as support, not any type of way like you have any doubt in them, which I think is very reassuring. Like I'm in sales. And so like if my leader was like that with me, for instance, I know I'd be like, well, they believe in me. I know I can do this. They're not micromanaging me or like on my shoulder. They believe in me enough and kind of give me that confidence. And sales is confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to be confident in yourself, and then that shows in your product. And of course, you have to have a great product too. But you guys got that part covered.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, you're. Please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying you're touching on some very valid points. I think it's because my team has a very good concept of what we're there to do. We're there to
their
build
expectation.
relationship. We're there to work. Yes, there are aspects of it that are going to be fun when we're out to conferences for sure. But we're there to serve a purpose, right?
Yeah.
When we're outside, when we're out conferences, I know it's not just our potential clients who are looking at us, right? Our competitors are looking at us, right? They're seeing how we move and how we function. And I never, ever want to be uncomfortable watching my competitor operate, right? And I won't be uncomfortable watching my competitor operate. I think that there's no such thing as people who are smarter than other people. They're just people who outwork people, who outstudy, who outwork and outperform, outtrain those people. And so I want our work in public to be a reflection of what we do when no one's watching. I want people to know, like, when no one's watching, they're working. If you don't hear my freight staff, it's because they're cooking up something.
Right.
Like because I see how they work. They're not a lazy team.
Right.
So yeah, what you're saying is very much by design, and that is kind of the message that we preach day in and day out here. It's like we need to outperform everyone. If you're not intending to work like this, you don't need to be at that conference. If you're not intending to work like this, you don't need to be here, because it's important for us to operate at an elite level.
Well, I think also building the culture of basically like we are elite makes you want to continue to be elite, and not just, because a lot of times elite employees or elite, especially elite salespeople get very stagnant and they don't grow, or they don't learn more, or they don't try to push the limit a little bit, because you get where you're like I've definitely dealt with this in the past, where it's like I've gotten to where like I hit a peak and I'm like, oh, I killed it. And I'm like, oh, that was exhausting. I don't want to do this again. And I'm like, and you just have to like power through, and having that motivation, or like knowing like, hey, my coworker's doing this, or this is not, I guess, expected. I mean, of course, I guess expected, but also encouraged. They believe in me enough to do that. And I just think that's huge. I love hanging out with your whole crew, because I know you guys are all like that. It almost like radiates off of you guys onto me whenever we're at conferences. That's why I love hanging out with you guys.
Thank you. No,
Good work.
I definitely appreciate it. And one other message, and this is when I hear podcasts and I hear leaders speaking, right? I don't care if it's a competitor. I'm going to listen. And if I can learn something, I'm going to absorb that and try to make that a piece of me. My message to other leaders is like, get out there with your team, right?
Yeah.
The moment that you disappear is the moment that your team starts to diminish, right? I believe that my team works so hard because they see me out there too.
Yeah.
Like
treating your team like they're peasants, and you're the king in the castle, right? Like they're going to be like rebelling against the king of the castle type thing. That's like history tells it,
People don't believe. It's really tough to tell someone, hey, you got to do it like this if you've never done it.
Right.
And if they don't believe that you can do it, right? But when they see it, they see me closing deals, and they just watch. I'm like, okay, go sit over there, just watch this. And they see me like leading that conversation and getting a meeting in real time. I'm like, okay. And there's a little internal competition. It's like, no, I'm gonna outdo. Like, there's no way I could do that, and I could do that better than him. I want my team to be better than me. I want my team to outperform me, but it starts with the top. It has to start at the top. So
very cool. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think just overall, your culture's like anything you post online, I guess, is probably the biggest thing I see. And then, of course, at conferences. But you do a lot in the community as well. So even outside of work, you do so much. And how did that get started? And what's your motivation for that? What all do you do? Explain. Yeah, every time I see something, I'm like, this is so freaking cool. I want to be involved in my community. How do you do all the things?
I want to start by saying it's not new, right?
Hmm.
We've been doing things in the community, but domestically and offshore for since the beginning. I was brought up, and I'm still in the church. Not, you know, I'm never going to be shy or timid to say that. I'm a believer in the word. And one of the things that really resonates with me in my heart is like if you're going to give and you're going to do, you're going to do any charitable work and then you're going to boast about it, right?
Right.
You've already received your reward, right?
Hmm.
That attention that you got, that's your reward. So don't expect to be blessed in any other way. And so a lot of what was going on in the early years was kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We didn't we didn't document anything. There was nothing to push out into the community, but it's gotten to the point where we've had even clients ask like, well, what are you guys doing in the community? Or even deeper, we've had people say, well, you guys don't do anything in the community. And it's like,
Oh, interesting.
really?
See,
Like,
to me, I don't see it as boosting as far as posting. I see it as being it's motivating. Like it's like
well,
I said, I want to do things like that just from watching what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, you can tell you have so much joy doing the community outreach. That I'm like, I want to be like that. Like I think it's just very motivating.
and there is a joy. There is a
Yeah.
joy in doing it. I promise you that that's probably the most fulfilling part of my job is being in the position to bless others, right?
Hmm.
Because it is a reminder of how blessed you are as an organization, as an individual, as whatever. If you can bless someone else, you should feel like, man, I'm I'm really in a good. How lucky am I to be in this
Right.
position to help someone else?
Hmm.
I feel like things have to be balanced. Right? You cannot simply take from communities. Can't.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it be the community that you were brought up in, whether it be a community that you're doing business in, you cannot simply take from communities. A few of the programs that you've likely seen recently, we have a program in collaboration with an organization called Kings on Campus, which I'm also affiliated with, that will take underprivileged students who oftentimes don't have the opportunities to see certain things, and we give them that exposure. And so
Mm.
earlier this year, we got 100 kids together and we brought them here to my FreightStaff HQ, and we had breakout out sessions for them. So one of the things that I done, I brought my cars. I had some friends bring their cars, high end luxury cars, and we just had washed them up. It's like, okay, you guys, doors are open. You guys go in there, take pictures, and feel this because a lot of things start with vision. And
Totally.
if there's time, I have a story where my vision was kind of like I can do this. But a lot of things start with vision. Like I can see myself. I need this, right?
Hmm.
And in order to obtain this, I have to work at this level, right? This
Yeah.
is no longer going to be good enough because now that I've got a taste for this, I can't be here anymore. And so it starts there. We had breakout sessions for just operations and customer service. We had breakout sessions for sales and marketing, right? And we had breakout sessions for training, right?
Mm.
So we wanted each of those students to get a feel for like the types of roles that they could take,
Right.
um, and really hear about what it would take to be in that type of role and what the importance of that role in an organization. And
Hmm.
after that was all done, obviously we talked to them about entrepreneurship in general. That was kind of my individual portion of it. Is like, hey, you can also be an entrepreneur. You can also be the person who starts all this, and it's very challenging job, but it's possible. You know, I think it's important to say, I don't want it to be something that's just assumed. I'll say it directly. I think that being like a young minority man coming from a very low, and I was raised up in San Bernardino, right? And so if anybody knows about San Bernardino, it is not known for its glamour, right? And I
Yeah.
was I went to the worst high school in San Bernardino, and to have students who come from where I come from to be
Hmm.
able to see where I am today,
Yeah. What's possible?
they where they did, and these are from the words of the students themselves, where like I didn't really think that I can be that,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. That's so amazing. Yeah, I think sorry to interrupt, but just like what you're mentioning with your visions, I work with my stepdad, and he always talks about having a poor mindset or a rich man mindset.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily how much money you're making, it's your mindset and
Yep.
living in that course. Like a lot of the times why people could generationally end up being on the lower end of the income and things like that. And even just living conditions is because that's all their state of mind is. That's all they know, right? That's all they've
Mm.
seen. That's all they know. They don't have like a rich uncle that they go to their house and be like, oh, this, you could live like this,
Yeah.
right? But having that exposure, like you just said, is so big for opening your eyes up and like, oh, this could happen. And you being a prime example of that, this could happen to me, and then shifting that vision. So okay, I know you're
Yeah.
like time frame if we have it, but I want you to talk about that because I think that's just really
Well,
cool having that.
well, I think okay. So I always say tell this story, right? And it's like once upon a time, there was one man who said to another, one day, humans are going to be able to fly from this end of the country to that end of the country in a matter of hours, right?
Yeah,
And the second I was like, that's at least a 3 week journey. What are you talking
yeah,
about? That's that we
yeah,
we don't have wings. We're not going to grow wings. But if you said that same thing today, any kid would be like, yeah, you get on a plane,
yeah.
right?
Duh. Yeah,
From there to there. And so there is power in what you can see with your
yeah.
eyes, right? If you can see it with your eyes, there's power. And in a lot of low income communities, they see that the only escape is sports and entertainment, which really all
Hmm.
wraps up into entertainment, right?
Right.
You can be a basketball player, a football player, a baseball player. You can be a singer, a rapper. You can be an actor. And these are all, and they see people like themselves who achieve wild success in those avenues, right? But when you put some basic math to it and you see what percentage of people who try actually make it, it's a
Right.
very sad figure, right? It's a
Yeah.
very sad
Totally.
figure. And so if you have, 90% of the future, of our future generations going after those things with the understanding that only 1% of them are going to make it in those
Hmm.
realms, you have to think about what's going to happen to everybody else. I think it's critically important to get our future generations' minds to be more broadened into the
Hmm.
possibilities of what they can do. And I think that if that generation can see people who look like them and who come from where they're from achieving at a high level outside of that entertainment realm,
Right.
right? And in business, in a realm where you have leaps and bounds more opportunity to be successful,
Right.
all right, and widespread success where we can all be successful together. You have this business, I have this business, he has this business, she has this business.
Yeah.
We can
Right.
all be successful together at
Yep.
the same time. If you show them that, and you show them that, these CEOs, CFOs, COOs, high level executives have all the same things that the
They're
entertainers
just
have.
yeah, and they're just people. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like they just aren't people. They came from who knows where, but they're just
right,
people. We're all people. We can all do
right,
it. Yeah.
right. They have the same things. Once you teach them that, and
Yeah.
I've seen the light, the spark, and young men and young women's eyes when they realize,
That's so
wow,
cool.
I can do that. I think we all have a moral obligation to kind of mentally adopt at least a few in our future generations and show them like, hey, you can do things a different way. And
Right.
that's something that's important to us and it will always be important to us and we will always take part in.
I love that. Yeah. Your community outreach is really cool. So I'm glad you share that. I'm glad you do that. Thank you for that. Very cool.
Yeah. We um and I know that part's wrapped up, but this was last week. I was in the Philippines. We did
Mhm.
our holiday party in the Philippines.
Fun.
And every time we go to the Philippines, we do an outreach program. And so this last one we did just kind of roving Christmas basket. So we had goods for 100 families.
Mm.
And the unfortunate reality, there are a lot of families that are on the streets,
Wow.
like literally on the streets. And it's heartbreaking to realize that you cannot help everyone. You can't save every single person, but
Mhm.
if you can help the future generation to have a better day, a better week, it's something. And if everyone kind of does their part to do that, then it actually adds up. And so we gave a lot of these care packages and gift bags out to a lot of the families that were on the streets, and we'll share that
Very cool.
soon. But so
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. That was one of the most fulfilling outreaches that I've had the pleasure of being part of so far.
I'm sure that would be so emotional for me. I'd be like going back to my room crying, like, oh my God, I can't believe I saw all this and did all this and whatever. Very cool. Well, next time you go, I'd love to be a part of it. So you'll have to message me and I'll fly out with you guys and
You're
be a part.
welcome.
That'd be cool.
Seriously,
Yeah.
you're very welcome.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're kind of sort of coming up on time anyways, but anything else you want to plug in for work or personal stuff or anything like that?
I mean, it's not that I need to plug it in, but I would say just to the people, and whether it be for with my free staff, with a competitor, we're in a space where you have to have a competitive advantage in order to
Yeah.
operate in this space. Like you cannot do things the old school way forever and expect that things are always going to be like, oh, no problem.
Yeah.
A market where organizations are going under. Every people you thought
Left and
were
right.
like, these guys are strong,
Yeah.
they're going under. And I think that a lot of people are like trying to figure out what did they do to go under as opposed to what they didn't do.
Yeah. True.
The unfortunate reality is that if you're bankrupt, you can't help anyone, right? That there's nothing all of your employees lose if your company fails, right? And so you have to figure out ways to save from a cost perspective. It's just, especially when you know that things are tight, you have to figure out ways to save from a cost perspective. You can't wait until the 11th hour to do so. You have
Right.
to you have to take those things now, make those decisions, excuse me. Now you have to prepare and position yourselves to be ready for when times are hard. That's where organizations like MyFreightStaff come in, because
Hmm.
we're helping to fill in those operational gaps and build, low cost back offices. I don't believe in replacing people, but I do believe in supplementing people. I do believe that you have to have something that you can fall back on when things potentially go really wrong in this market.
Almost like
We
a
have a lot of things.
pre-layoff thing, like be
Yeah,
proactive layoff, right? Like, and also be careful when you hire because I think a lot of people get into tech debt. I think a lot of people get into employee debt, like very
exactly.
easily. It happens very fast.
It happens so quickly. And we've had so many conversations with organizations who come to us and they're like, essentially, hey, save me. Like
Hmm.
I'm in a tough spot. I need to do this. And I don't really enjoy being part of that kind of thing. I'm in this tough spot. I'm gonna have to get rid of all these guys and replace them with all your guys. Like that's not how this works. Like that's not gonna be good
Yeah.
either. Right. Because all of your legacy knowledge is with the people that you've already had. You can't let all those you can't get rid of all those people if you want things
Right.
to go well. You need to, hold on to some of your great people, and we can help supplement that, but you got to hold on to your great people.
And sometimes even transitioning them into sales, you know what I mean? Like sometimes those
Well,
people who are operational actually have some talent that you got to rub off and you can
uh,
make them be revenue generating instead of being something else. So a lot of times that great talent who's very loyal, who knows the back end, who can even talk on that as a customer, like prospecting for like new shippers and stuff like that, like knowing, hey, this is how we do things differently, even back office. That makes a big difference to some people too. So, yeah, I think you're exactly right on that.
and I do believe, and I guess this will be the last thing that I say. My freight staff was founded in 2016, before COVID, before people were forced to work from home, because I saw something that a lot of people didn't see. I saw it from a different perspective, but I'll share it anyway. We're getting more and more populated, right? There are
Yeah.
going to be so many office spaces that are eventually going to be converted into residential spaces. It's happening already. You see a lot of
Yeah, it is.
warehouses that are converted into residential spaces. Here in Los Angeles, they're converting a lot of even studios where they were shooting movies into residential spaces.
Oh, wow.
And you're going to see those things happening over and over and over again because we are growing from a population standpoint in major cities. And with that being said, the office capacity is going to be limited. And my vision is that there are going to be countless people who work from home, right?
Mhm.
And the people who work in office are going to be management. It's going to be like management. It's going to be kind of like a hive mind, right?
Yeah.
Where management comes together and they figure everything out, and each of them who has sub teams, they go and kind of let their sub team know their portion of that top level vision, right?
Right.
And that's how we've built our company here, right? So we have a 20-person, or really, we could fit like we probably have a 50-person office, but we designed it for just 20 people, so no one's like shoulder to shoulder
Yeah.
office here. And then we have huge teams beneath us. Our team in the Philippines, our internal team in the Philippines is much bigger than our team here
Right.
in the US, but it
Mm.
makes us nimble, it makes us efficient.
Yeah.
It eliminates the fears of what's going to happen in the future. None of my team members are scared about being laid off because things are going to go bad. Right. And it's
Right.
because we design things in this way. And I encourage everyone in the market to really just be proactive about how you structure your teams and structure them in a way where the people that you do have are always well taken care of. Instead of like, hey, we're going to just use these people until things get tight
The
and then we'll
burnout.
get rid of 30% of them. If you can avoid that, don't do it. If you can avoid it, avoid it. Structure it in a way where your team members can exist with confidence that they're going to have a job tomorrow. And that's what we can help do. And I hope that organizations really take notice of that and take action as quickly
Yeah.
as possible if they haven't already.
I love that. And I was going to ask, so with AI, I think, okay, here's my personal take on AI. I love AI. I use it all the time with Chat GBT and whatever. I even now with the iPhones, I even have it like my own answering service because for some reason, I'm on some sort of crazy loan approved list, and I get like 50 calls a day.
Yep.
But I think it's crucial. I don't think it's going to replace people. I think maybe we'll hit a wave where it almost does. And then I think people are going to miss people and it goes back down. As far as a lot of the industry is kind of thinking in that way, instead of hiring people or even offshore people, they're thinking AI can replace that. What is your thoughts on that? Yeah, I guess what are your thoughts on that? I don't really have another.
I think in theory, right? In theory, like the concept of AI replacing people is very interesting and intriguing.
Hmm.
But once you kind of put it into practice, it gets a little tougher, right?
Yeah.
Number one, AI is expensive.
Yeah.
AI is not cheap,
Right.
right? And so, which is why right now AI primarily compares itself to a person here, right? So, like example, AI in the Philippines is not really replacing anybody
Right.
because it is much more efficient to have that real person working in the Philippines as opposed to AI. But AI here in the stateside, still, and per capita, it's going to be more expensive than
Hmm.
hiring a real person. So, and there's a lot of work to be done from a data processing standpoint in order to get those price points down to where it would even make sense. So that's before we
Hmm.
even dive into how people are going to feel about it from a practicality standpoint. Is it going to kind of hold its weight? Time will tell.
Yeah.
But we've seen this before. This thing happens in cycles and waves, right? There are certain things that people are not comfortable with, and certain things that people are comfortable with. Right? Mark Zuckerberg, he completely changed the dynamic of Facebook. Hey, we're going to be called Meta. We've got the Meta thing. There's the metaverse. And if you remember, the a lot of the basis was virtual reality. Like, hey,
Right.
put the headset on. You're going to work in the metaverse. You're going to do everything in the metaverse, right?
Hmm.
And I have a personal story because I bought like the Oculus at the time and said, hey, this is going to be cool. This is a wave of the future. And I got in and I thought it was so cool for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
And now that thing just sits and
Says
collects dust because it doesn't replace the person to person,
right.
dynamic that I have. And this is
Hmm.
this is someone who's spending billions upon billions of dollars on an existence, a universe, so to speak, the metaverse that's supposed to be this wave of the future, right? And they've since scaled that down. So I'm seeing the same thing being scaled up in AI. And I agree
Interesting.
with you.
Yeah.
There are countless amazing applications to AI, but I look at AI as more of a complement
Right.
than a replacement. I think that the winners in the AI race are going to be those that focus exclusively on using AI to make people better
Right.
because it does two things, right? Number one, people are always going to trust people more than robots. I mean, obviously, there
Totally.
are certain things that robots have more precision, but from a person to person standpoint, people are going to trust people more than they trust
We've all
robots.
seen the
No one wants to
Terminator.
work, go throughout their whole day and not see a single person, get
Right.
everything that they need done, but they don't see a single person. They go to the grocery store, robots. They go to
I couldn't
get a
do
cup of
it.
coffee, robots. It's not going to be the feeling
No.
that everyone hopes for, right?
Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Having people being supplemented with AI is going to be the way of the future, right?
Hmm.
That's going to be the future. Mark my words, that will be the future.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
don't think that there's going to be any major AI replacement on a vast scale.
Yeah, I
of
agree.
human beings.
I think it would just be where kind of like I have the answering service for all those calls. It's like somebody's fielding my things, but I'm still at the end of the day, I think I pick up the phone. And
Mhm.
I think you're right with people are going to want people. And especially when it comes to like carriers, a lot of these drivers, they want to still deal with people. I mean, I was just at Broker Carrier Summit and there we had an AI panel and all the carriers on there were like, no, I don't want that. I want to talk to a
Yeah.
person. And almost like whenever we call into AT&T, you're like, person 0 0 0 0.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter what they say or how much they can actually help me. I don't even care. I just want to talk to somebody. So I
Yeah.
am on the same wavelength as you. I think it will definitely help a ton of people. I think we'll be all way more efficient. And some of the very redundant tasks that like, why is there even a position for this will be eliminated, but it will be those same people will then move up a level and be able to,
Mhm.
handle more things. Kind of like I was saying with even, your staff, like you were just saying, like having offshore staffing and then keeping your staff, but enhancing them up. I think that would be like the same concept.
Yeah. No,
Love it.
for sure. Listen, even without us, no prep, we're on the same page. You're thinking
Yeah.
exactly how I'm thinking, and it's very refreshing.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, a lot of people don't really, they don't, they don't get it. A lot of people don't understand why I'm so calm in the midst of like everything that's going on. It's like because I've seen this before.
Been
Um,
in the game for a while. And I think the ones who are freaking out the most, a lot of them are like 2020 on, like only been in it for 5 years. Like if you've been in the
right.
industry like 10 years or whatever, you've
Mhm.
seen all the waves. So like you've been through it. And obviously this is a little bit more drastic than normal, but you've been through the waves. So I think, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say like we're not straying away from it. We're not like anti AI or anything like that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. And when I tell you the winners, let me throw this little nugget out there to stir the pot in the industry. But when I say the winners will be those who have AI complement people,
hmm
the fact that I know that and the type of person I am means that if nobody does it for me, it's getting done, right?
I can see that.
My people here in the States, my people abroad, my mind is never going to be, hey, let me figure out a way to replace them so I can make a dollar, right?
Right.
My mindset is going to be, let me figure out a way to make them so invaluable that you can't replace them. They're too important to my operation in order to do that. And that goes back into the retention and loyalty that we gain, right?
hmm
If you as an employer, of me as an employer, my mindset is always like, okay, how do I figure out a way to pay them less or to not have them at all? If that's always my mindset, and
Right.
they know that that's my mindset, then
They're not gonna perform like they should.
yeah,
Or they could.
they're not going to buy. They're not going to have a buy-in to that in the same way as someone who knows that you would never do that to them,
Right. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I think everybody knows that. I think all the players in the game. I know the players in the game, and I think that let's say even if I branched off, let's say I'm my freight staff and I have this face and it says like, hey, my people, right? And then I have, my other face over here that I separate from myself and I say, okay, I'm going to use this to replace the people, right?
Right.
People aren't stupid. They,
No,
they, they,
they're
they,
not.
they know what's up. And so you lose a lot of the loyalty and the culture that makes you great.
Totally.
That's what makes us great. And that's not something that I'm willing to gamble with. I want
Yeah.
to. My people should know that I'm always going to be fighting for people. We're growing like crazy. Thousands of VAs deep, and we are not slowing down. We're
Yeah.
ready to take on any challenge, and we're ready to help organizations grow and be more efficient.
I love it. Well, on that note, how can everybody reach my freight staff?
Well, I see that. I don't know how I did this, but it's like my email address.
I don't know if that will show up though. So say your email anyways.
Okay. So my email, actually the best email to reach me at where it's going to get answered promptly is ea@myfreightstaff.com. You can check us out at myfreightstaff.com. It's just on LinkedIn, on Instagram at myfreightstaff. Me personally on Instagram, I'm Edward_Lockridge.
I need to follow you. I haven't followed you, I don't think. I think I just follow my freight staff.
Yeah, but I'm not on the personal side. I'm not super active on
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Instagram, but you could still follow me there. And I've made a commitment to myself to be a lot more active on it. So, stay tuned there. And yeah, listen, we're easy to reach. We're easy to work with. We have a model where, we can get a team built in, 2 days as opposed to a month or two.
Right.
Right. And,
'Cause your guys are ready to go. I love it.
yep, we're ready to go.
So, well, thanks so much for coming on. I really, really, really appreciate it. It's been great hanging out with you like always.
No, likewise. It's been like it's not just business. You're just a genuinely good person. And
Thank
I'm
you.
always gonna resonate with good people because I think real true good people are few and far between.
Yeah.
A lot of people can put the face on, but I think that, after peeling back the layers, you still are that same genuine person. And I appreciate you for being you. And I think
Thank
more
you.
people should take time to get to know you.
Appreciate that. Same with you. I agree. I concur. Awesome. All right. Well, bye, everybody.